everyone. Music in Our Schools Month is right around the corner, and we want you to be part of the excitement. We are gearing up for the biggest celebration of music education that NAFME has ever seen. I chose this year's theme of Music is All of Us because music is literally everywhere. It's in our homes, in our cars, in our communities, and certainly in our schools. Music has a unique way of bringing people together and giving everyone a place to belong. It doesn't matter what kind of music you're performing, creating, or listening to, music is inside of all of us, and we want you to share what it means to you. Be sure to check out all of the ways you can be involved with this year's Music in Our Schools Month celebration by looking at the NAFME website and watching your email and social media. We want to hear from you, as well as from your students, about the difference music makes in your lives and why it's so important. And I hope you'll join us at the end of the month for our big celebration. I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.
Norris, and I'm part of the staff of the Council for Professional Recognition. I'm on the ECE Observation Systems team, and I am so excited to bring to you today Sarah Alipana. She is a wonderful person and an awesome music teacher of those from infant through first grade. And she's even gone higher than that at times. But we want to talk to you today about the Music in Our Schools Month. And we're going to just get into the details and find out a little bit more about what that even entails and what that even means. But let me tell you a little more about Sarah right now. Sarah teaches infants through first graders at a private school in Washington, D.C. She is about to get her MME from Elizabethtown College. She'll get it in May, so that's very exciting. With her program focusing on peace building, social and emotional learning, and ethnomusicology. She is a trained First Steps in Music educator and has completed ORF Level 1 training, world music drumming, and drumming up the fun. In her spare time, Sarah sings for the Fairfax Choral Society's Vocal Arts Ensemble, that's in Northern Virginia, as well as performing in local community theater productions. She enjoys reading, swimming, making music with her husband, Tim, and exploring new parks to take walks with their dog, Tyson. So welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
And based on your bio, I know you through community theater because that is, we worked on a show together just a few months ago.
Super fun. You were our costume designer and made everybody look nice and flattering. So we appreciated that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm so excited to talk about this subject with you because, and you're the first person who came to mind, because I found out that March is Music in Our Schools Month. And I've been a big musician my whole life, so it's really important to me. And I feel like I know why music is so important in the classroom, especially for the young ones, but I can't wait to talk to you more about it. But real quick, let me just introduce our audience to what is Music in Our Schools Month. So for more than 30 years, March has been officially designated by the National Association for Music Education for the observance of Music in Our Schools Month, the time of year when music education becomes the focus of schools across the nation. The purpose of this month is to raise awareness of the importance of music education for all children and to remind citizens that school is where all children should have access to music. Music in Our Schools Month is an opportunity for music teachers to bring their music programs to the attention of the school and the community, and to display the benefits that school music brings to the students of all ages. And first, I want to ask you real quick before we get into this, is there anything that we didn't cover in your bio?
Well, I just didn't mention how many years I'd been teaching, and this is my 16th year teaching, and I am currently at a private school, but I did before that teach at a public school in the state of Virginia, and that was for students from pre-K up to 6th grade. So I currently teach younger students, but I have taught all the way up to 6th grade.
Wonderful. Okay. So we are, as you know, as I explained to you a little bit, we are focused on early education. We generally focus from 0 to 5. We know that early education sometimes also goes till 8, but I wanted to know, have you ever heard of Music in Our Schools Month, and have you celebrated it?
So I first heard about it when I was in college, studying to be a music educator. We were encouraged to join NAFME. That's the acronym for National Association. And we kind of every year for Music in Our Schools Month, there's a theme. And part of our learning in undergrad was trying to come up with programs or ideas to go along with the theme for when we were teaching. So I really appreciated that Shenandoah Conservatory, where I went to undergrad, already had us getting excited about that month to just bring awareness. Part of the program was also being prepared to be advocates for music education. So that is a Music in Our Schools Month is a huge advocacy moment for reminding people of the importance of music in schools. So I definitely already had heard of Music in Our Schools Month.
Wonderful. So I'm going to just ask the next obvious question to me is, why is music important in our schools then?
So music covers so many different skills that students come across. So music builds fine and gross motor skills. It supports sensory development. It enhances hand-eye coordination. It teaches turn taking. It helps prolong attention spans and accelerates brain development. It also supports language development in students. And it supports active and imaginary play as well as collaboration. Collaborating is a huge thing that I think about in my classroom post-pandemic, because when we were in the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of our students were asked to not be close to each other and asked to stay 6 feet apart. And we had to completely rethink the way we led our music classes. And now that we're back to whatever this new normal is, students are having to relearn how to work together. And music class is a great way to have fun ways for students to just learn how to work with others. So team building and learning how to compromise, but also just learning how to find the steady beat. So the music things about it is finding steady beat. Also, if you are taking lessons on a specific instrument, persevering through something that might be hard, and achieving maybe a piece of music that is tricky, and practicing and learning perseverance. So there's so many things that music covers. And I also a lot of times when I'm teaching like rhythm or teaching about notation, the kids kind of mention, this kind of seems like math. And I'm like, yes. And also a lot of language. And I strive to make my classroom a place where we talk about people of color and people from lots of different backgrounds and lots of different countries. So it's also, music is history. Music is about people. And music also, I can think about if I've had a hard day, I put on a song. Music helps bring out your emotions and helps completely change a mood. So music is very important. It covers so many different things that maybe people don't always think about, but it's something that I'm always thinking about.
Yeah, and there's so much I could say about seeing someone who wasn't raised with the same kind of music education that I was, and now as an adult is having trouble understanding what I say when I say, well, don't you hear that beat? And it's so amazing to me, because that to me is innate, but it's not if you really never been taught how to hear the different parts of a song, because he hears it as one cohesive unit. And I'm like, oh no, but I hear the music and I hear the background singers and and he's like, I don't know how to do that. It's so funny because to me, music is history, like you said, and it incorporates so deeply into our pop culture, but also into our actual history. And trying to explain that to somebody who doesn't have a basis in music history is really so very interesting, because you're like, no, it's important, but like, why?
Yeah, one of the trainings I went to called First Steps in Music, it talks about the why of what we do, and it's called they talk about the 30-year plan. And so the 30-year plan is we are, yes, teaching children music to hopefully one day be in a community choir, or maybe be on Broadway, or maybe be a teacher, or do community theater or community bands. But mostly we're just hoping that when they find their person at their wedding, potentially they can successfully move to the music to the beat. Or if they're at a baseball game, they can sing in tune to the national anthem, that they know the words to the national anthem. Or even simpler, when those people are coming around on your birthday and they sing happy birthday, that they can sing it in tune. So the 30-year plan is that they are still able to embrace and find music in their lives in some way.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. You teach such a variety of ages in your classroom. Is there anything that drew you particularly to specifically the younger ages?
Yes. So I noticed at my last school that the older kids were just so nervous in their own skin that taking risks and being brave was just really hard. And when the sense of wonder and awe was a little bit gone. And so when I found out there was an opportunity to teach first grade and down, I was so excited, because kids in kindergarten, if you're going to sing a song about dinosaurs, they will stomp around and pretend to be a dinosaur with you, and it will be one of the best days for them. If you playing pretend is not something that is a far reach for them, because it's something that they are still doing in early childhood. They're willing to be goofy and silly and not look at you. They're not too cool or too nervous to try something. They're also willing to try lots of different activities. And because I have a unique lens, because I have taught older students, so when I've done lessons in the past, they say, like, this is for typical whatever age. And I never think that younger students, I call them tiny humans, I never think that my tiny humans are not able to achieve something if I can break it down for them. And if repetition is great for young students, and they don't mind if you read them the same story 4 times, because if they like the story and they're engaged, they want to hear it 4 times, because they're excited by it. And actually, the repetition is the thing that gets the music, the song, the dance, whatever you're teaching, in their heads, so it keeps going. So they appreciate the repetition, but I enjoy their joy, and it's just so nice to be with young students.
I bet. And something you said really struck a chord with me. I was going to say it sort of earlier when you were talking about the benefits of music. One of the things I found as a young musician is the confidence. And especially like you said, you take on, well, and patience. So like you take on a new instrument, you want to play it really well the way you've always heard it immediately, and it's like, no, you have to count and you have to practice, because you're never going to get there unless you actually learn how to do it. But once you've learned and you've made that progress, and you haven't given up, you become more confident in yourself and your abilities, and you see that you can grow and do these things. So I think it's so important to get that music in them when they're young, because also hopefully that will help them, at least in the music class, find themselves in a position where they're not being nervous in their skin, and they're not being, like, hopefully that could help negate some of that. Now, some of that is just their age and their hormones and their, peer pressure and all of that. But yeah, I always just think, like, if you can get them young, hopefully that can make a little bit of a difference, at least in one place in their life.
Well, and I think this happened just today. I have a tricky pre-K student, and she has a lot of trouble in her general ed classroom. And I've been doing the story of Mortimer by Robert Munsch. And in the story, I introduced the story, and they have the opportunity the next class to learn an instrument part, and then the next class we have instrumentalists and actors, and she really wanted to be an actor, and I had her practice the song that the main character sings, and she not only stepped up to the plate for it, but she had one of the best days. And her confidence and sense of self, it was like she was a beaming ray of sunshine. And I didn't mention this before, but the music classroom is important because it might be the only place where a student can feel good about themselves, because we found something, that little thing that just gives them the little boost, and then they get to shine. And so I love that about my job. It is so nice that my classroom gets to be a place where kids feel good about themselves, and they feel confident and feel like they can be vulnerable and take chances and find something that they're great at. And I told the teacher about that, and she just got so excited and also was surprised. But also my classroom teachers appreciate when they're having conferences with the parents, because sometimes they're finding things, they're trying to find things to compliment the student about. And so if I say something, this student had a great day and here's why, they're so excited to share it with the parents.
So I loved hearing about how you made them the actors and the musicians. So you're doing this with even your littlest. So how
That was pre-K. That was 4-year-olds.
so how do you incorporate it, since you teach from infants now? How what is that? How do you incorporate it for the youngest learners?
So I do have infants, and so my school has a kind of daycare center. So the earliest that the parents have to go back to work is when I see the students. So I always start, so repetition, of course. I always start the same way with the song, The More We Get Together. And they're already learning. A lot of places do sign language with kids, and they're already learning more for like more food. So we do the more we get together, the happier we'll be. I have a student that doesn't have much language. She's only saying ma and ba, but we were singing head, shoulders, knees, and toes, and she's able to find, I always review, where's your head, where are your shoulders, where are your knees? So we point to them, and then I sing the song and the students follow along. We do, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands, and they've got their hands clapping. They have really cute farm animals in their classroom, so I have each one of them kind of hold a little animal, and then we sing about the animal on the farm and have that student have that moment. But I do a lot of singing, and then we do a lot of patty cake type activities where we're trying to find the steady beat. Steady beat is a thing that's really hard, so you start it as early as you can. I do a lot of singing so that they can get language acquisition, because there's been studies, the more you talk and the more they're always listening. And so, and I never talk down to the littlest learners. I just kind of explain things. If I'm doing I love to use books that are songs. So like row, row, row your boat. I have a little interactive, and they put their little finger in it to row the boat, but they're following along. And or if we're doing like the Five Little Ducks song, I say, okay, this is for the 1 or 2-year-olds. I say, oh, we have 5 ducks, and when you take away 1, how many is that? And we count. I stop what I'm doing, because we're counting, we're learning lots of things together. So there's teachers in the classroom when I'm there, so I'm of course not by myself with the students. And sometimes I'll take the the littlest ones, and I'll do like the grand old Duke of York. So I'll hold them and I'll had 10,000 men, he marched them up to the top of the hill and he marched them down again. So you take their bodies and you make sure they're moving, or you do some bouncing songs and you put them on your lap and so you're hand over hand doing the patty cake and finding the beat with them. And also to work on grip, I have these shakers that look like fruit and vegetables, which of course everything goes in their mouths anyway. So when it looks like an apple or an orange, it definitely goes in their mouth. So we do a lot of the Rafi song. I'm gonna shake, shake, shake my sillies out. Shake, shake, shake my sillies out. And then tapping, we practice tapping. Around 1.5, 2 is when language starts to burst. And it's really fun. In the last month, one of my classes, they've been, like I said, they've been listening this whole time, but their language burst out, and so they're singing along with me now, and so it's really cool. Oh, you were in there. I know you were in there, but now you're able to respond more and sing along with me, so that's really been fun.
Oh, that's amazing. And you know, it's so funny because somebody said to me once, I think it was like high school, who was a musician himself, but of an instrument. And I said something about going to voice lessons. And he was like, what do you need lessons for to sing? Right, okay. For those of us who are musicians, we're like, oh no, there's a lot that goes into that. But understanding that your body is also an instrument, understanding how to control those things and feel that music within you and feel those beats and stuff, you don't ever think about how early that starts. And like you said, the bouncing on the knee thing, that's right to the beat. That's getting it internalized so that they can actually start hearing it and feeling it. I love that. I love that. I feel like we've kind of answered some of the questions that I had prepared for you originally. So I'm going to go back to their school or center doesn't have a specific music person, you know, just for them in the school. Because we deal with a lot of people who are in like center-based infant toddler and center-based preschool, family childcare, where maybe that person's not a music teacher, but they need to incorporate music. How do you suggest best incorporating music for those youngest learners?
Okay, the first thing I'm going to say is, and this bothers me sometimes, is when I'm in the room, teachers always apologize to me when they sing in front of me because they think their voices aren't as good or something, because like I'm the musician and I'm the singer. So the first thing I'm going to say is don't be afraid to sing in front of kids, no matter what you sound like, because singing is very important in early childhood. Some ways that you can do that. Okay, so are you having trouble getting the kids to help you clean up? There's a song for that. Clean up, everybody everywhere. Clean up, everybody do your share. And let's say you're going to make that, the norm is you're going to sing that 5 times. Okay, so your kiddos who you work with, they know they have that amount of time to clean up the room. And so instead of the noise, you tell them that they need to be listening to your singing voice to know when to stop. So instead of them yelling or, hey, I was using that crayon, they have to listen to know when the music stops. So they are engaged, their minds are engaged, their ears are engaged, and they're always listening, and they're able to get their job done, and they have to hear the frequency and the length of time to know when to stop. That's just one example, but there's a lot of really great, we do responsive classroom at my school. And so they start with the morning meetings, and then they end the day with closing meetings. And music is a great way if you have an activity time to incorporate an activity, or always singing a welcome song. The kids like I said, repetition is so important for the kids so they know what is expected of them, and the routine. Kids thrive on routine. So having a routine is really important. And then something that's really tricky for everyone, including grown-ups, is transitioning from one activity to another. And I know when the kids are transitioning, let's say from play workshop to reading workshop, they sing, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." And the kids know, okay, I have to put away my play stuff. I need to clean it up. And then I need to be prepared for whatever, if I need crayons or I need to get my folder out, I need to get this, or I need to go get a sip of water. They can use that. And last thing is, I have no idea where I learned this, but it's a really great lineup song. My hands are in a ducktail, I'm standing straight and tall. My eyes are facing forward, I'm ready for the haul. Give it a bubble. So it helps them focus and remember that wherever they're going, if they're in a classroom setting or a Head Start setting, or just even going outside to play, they're gonna come across other people working, and so they need to remember to be respectful to the people working. And that's the way we move in the hallway. So there's so many ways to incorporate music, but please don't be scared to use your voices, because it doesn't matter what you sound. You don't have to be like the next person on Broadway or the opera star or on American Idol, if people still watch that. You just need to just use your voice. It's so important.
Well, and I think what's really important too is, like, so often we don't want to bring our traumas into the classroom. We don't want to bring our, our fears to our children, or, whether they're your students or your own children or whatever, so often we'll pretend not to be scared and we'll pretend not to whatever, but we subconsciously send a message when we're like, "Oh, my voice is terrible, don't listen to me." And
Exactly.
they see that, and
then they won't do it either, because
right.
they'll be self-conscious, and they've learned that from the grown-up they spend the most time with during the day. Because some of these kids have more wakeful hours with us than with their grown-ups who love them at home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's so true. So, well, Sarah, I have really, really enjoyed this, and I feel like we could talk about music all day long. But thank you so much for joining us and just shedding some light on what music means for those youngest learners. So everybody, this is Sarah Alipana, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Join the National Association for Music Education in their 2023 Music in Our Schools Month Advocacy Celebration on March 28th. For more information, visit their website at www.nafme.org.